Okay, welcome everybody to another not so sunny Sydney Harbour. This is take 2, and breeze is up and down, and it's all looking a bit murky. I got my full wet weather gear on. Joining us today on board with the expert commentary. Just hear the signal there, 6 minutes. We've got Andrew Buckland out with us for another week, and our all-star guest for the day, Sevi Jarvan, 8 times a winner of the JJ Giltingham. 7 times a skipper, once a sheet hand, just been making the big bucks over in the US of A as a professional sailor these days. So thanks for coming on board, Sevi.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, something different. Well, you know that the cheque will be in the mail on Sunday night for your expertise. And Bucko, we're in sequence, so give us a quick rundown of what we're going to get today weather-wise.
Yeah, the system today just dominated by a small low pressure cell up near the Queensland border. Quite cool in Sydney today, barely 20 degrees. Water temperature about 20. Not much thermal happening. Wind speed for the race 8 to 13. Strong ebb tide making the start an interesting exercise. And a bit of left-hand air on the left-hand edge here where we are at the start line, and about 20 degrees to the right up the top. So it's a pretty structured beat that the guys need to do.
So Sevi, you're just having a quick banter with your old man Mothy, thinking the line's got a bit of bias in it, mate.
Yeah, it's a tricky course, this one, I think, when it's like this. They always seem to favour the pin end, but you want to get onto port as quick as you can, I think, in this sort of track and get up to the harbour. As Bucko said, I think the breeze sort of seems to go quite right up in Point Piper, so the trick is to sort of take the bias as much as you can, but being able to get onto port's quite a big thing on this track, I think, especially with a run-out tide. Yeah,
well, there's a heap of tide. I mean, I don't know if it's in shot. No, it's not. But when you do get a shot, the committee vessel is lying at 90 degrees to the actual wind direction, so that tells you how much water's flowing out of this harbour. So we've got a 3-buoy handicap race. So this is like a 7-race spring series, and we get them out of the way early in the season this time with the revised calendar, and a little bit more structure to the calendar this season with this spring series, and then going into the States, and then the Nationals, which is going to be 2 races a day, windward lewards this year, Sevi.
Oh, that's different. Yeah, that's good. We've always pushed for that, and it's good to see that they're getting away and doing all that. It'll be good. Yeah, well,
I sat down with Woody at the end of last year and went, you know, we need a bit of fresh air into the program, and I think we're going to try and target 30-minute races, a bit more like the 49er or, you know, stadium-style racing, and you know, I think it'll be a good shake-up for the guys for crew work and so forth, and also too, it brings the pack together, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's good to see a lot of fresh faces in the class. Like, I came down and walked through the park today, and didn't know many of the people, but so.
Yeah, well, it has been, well, you know, like you've gone, and obviously all your lot, Scotty and Sam, who are doing cup duties, and then Cocko, Trent, and Dave O'Connor, he's gone. I saw Dave's doing a bit of 49er sailing.
Yeah, right.
So he was right there. In fact, he had Goobs as his forward hand when he first started, and was a training partner. I think he was training partner to Nathan Outridge, actually, for in China. So he's a very accomplished 49er sailor, getting in a little bit of trouble here with the tide. So what are you seeing, boys? What are you seeing? Who likes what in terms of the stack up with about a bit over a minute to go?
Just looking at the harbour here, I'm just looking at Elliot. He looks quite left up in front of us. So I think the same plans. Getting onto port's going to be quite a big thing, I think.
Smeg spent his money starting at the boat. Ewan McNichol in charge of that today, but the regular boys in the front of the ship. And at the other end, who do we have down there? Was Asco?
Well, yeah, Asco. We've got DeLonghi. Sean Langman's back with Noak Sailing. He's sort of up that pin end. A couple of them may be looking for a port hand start by the looks of things. Could be game, but it normally closes up pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, just looking at it now, they'd be well ahead of this starboard bunch, but
the line's only 30 seconds at full speed, isn't it? Smeg spending money. We're into 20 seconds, Seth.
Yeah.
20 seconds. I think the port guys could get close to crossing here.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Lamojo's just sheeted on, so we'll find out in a sec.
Yeah, well, Langman's been a bit late to hit the trigger.
And who's the keelboat on port tack? Does he know?
Yeah. Oh, he's tacked. Oh, and that could interfere with the others. The longies actually had to duck them.
Smeg, the first boat onto port. How about that, eh?
Yeah. So,
So Asco does cross the fleet on it. No, they got forced to tack. A lot of carnage at the pin end down there, I think.
Yeah, too much congestion.
yeah, well, that
to
was
get
the
out of
thing.
there,
It was
I
very
think.
biased, but it was all pretty patchy, wasn't it? These guys, sort of, the boat on port tacker got good pressure straight away.
Kitchen maker from the front. So the footage you've got on screen, Kitchen Maker, the most left-handed boat at this point, probably not in bad shape. The boats at the other end that jumped out pretty early were Triple M and Smeg, who are both reasonably favoured in this sort of wind strength.
So you can see now the breeze starting to go right up here. So I think the guys that have tacked off have made quite a big gain, I think.
You need a fair bit of left hand inside Bradley's head to make up for that one, Seb, I think. And the cruising boat on the start line didn't help the cause down there either, did it?
So we just follow this pack out to the right. Just a little bit out of shot. Triple M is well down. Smeg is well headed. We're with this pack of Noakes Youth and Noakes Sailing. Brett Van Munster's in here and Appliances online. But geez, the pressure's up and down a lot, guys.
Yeah. You'd think the Kitchen Maker's somewhere near the front, though, wouldn't you? Looking at that.
Yeah, the Kitchen Maker just to the left of this pack is in really good pressure and actually a little bit lifted.
Yeah, he's got the last bit of bend off the headland there, I would suggest. The guys out on the right in a bit less wind for a while. They're okay now. Yeah, a bit of a funnel, Sebo.
So here we go, Smeg tacking, and we've got that on shot now, and we're going to get a clear indication. Panasonic has cleared them, so I think a bit of pressure has helped Panasonic.
Smeg pretty high on starboard was, I reckon, there, and
Yeah.
the current and a little bit of rain here for us. Very nice.
And what's out of shot is there's another small group right over to the left of Bradley's that's on port tack and doing quite good with pressure. The best one is Rag and Famish out of that group.
So it looks like Smeg and Kitchen Maker were going to meet there, so not in shot, but that is a line ball position as it appeared to be crosswind. I think Rag and Famish might lead, eh?
Yep, so they've Rag and Famish come out of that corner really well.
It's interesting. I thought all the guys coming back on starboard came back a little early to me. I thought they actually came back against the shift.
Yeah, right.
And Asco's going to cross Kitchen Maker as well.
So those guys really hung in hard on the left, didn't they?
Yep, hard left has paid, which is a bit unusual, and proof of that really is that Yandu, who started pretty badly, is inside of the leaders.
Yeah, they're in sort of mid-pack, sort of almost last to mid-pack.
That's right. But so they're now only 6 boat lengths behind Smeg. Interesting. Oh, now the Asco.
James Doran taking over the steering duties on Asco this year. That's your old boat, Sevi.
Yeah, I think we sort of liked last year. We liked the easterly courses with Marcus. This was his specialty, I think. And James Doran used to sail with him, and they used to always do pretty well. I think he's quite a smart sailor, Dozza. So see how he goes today. I think he's done well so far.
Yeah, see, I know he's sort of did a lot in the 16s, and obviously seen him on the sheet, and the boat always goes well when he's on board. Has he done much steering? I can't remember.
He steered the 16. He was very good in the 16s. I think he's won a couple of nationals in that, but I think he filled in a few times for Marcus. I think he won a heat last year, and I think he's going to have a pretty good lead here. It looks like he's heading out to breeze. It looks quite right. I think if he's tacked pretty soon, I reckon, and he's going to have a decent lead, I reckon. Looks like he's in with good angle and good wind here. He's made a big gain.
Yeah, so it's hooking up the dots very nicely at this stage.
Yeah, so the order right now, Asco, Panasonic, Lumix, Triple M, Yandu, and Smeg in the mix as well.
Yeah, well, the boat's out of shot. The boat's on the left. It's just so up and down, isn't it? But certainly Asco, as we said, hooking up those dots very nicely.
It's very easy on this course to get out of phase, and I think if you get it right, I think it's very rewarding. I think he's made big gains here out of the right.
Yeah. Well, now he's coming back to sort of cross tacks with Rag and Famish, and as you said, that breeze died and he got headed, and so he's tacked and got back out of there.
Wow, looking pretty sick in spots up here, guys.
Yeah, nothing simple about it.
On screen here. Lumix.
So quite big shifts and quite big changes in velocity.
A typical rotting easterly was.
Yeah, well, last week was not simple. That was a long race time-wise last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure.
We're sort of making the point that the actual course is, I don't know what it is in nautical miles, but it's up there with one of the longer courses, but you generally don't get a lot of breeze, so speed through the water isn't as high, so hence it takes a lot longer to get the race done.
It's amazing the speed differentials with people at full trapezing and people in the boat. There's quite big gains on this course, just being able to hold 3 strings, and you can see I just saw Asco then sort of went into a bit of a hole and they were 2 strings and really looked sort of stuck in the mud a little bit there, so the velocity is obviously a huge thing here.
Yeah. Well, you basically, you pull one guy off the string, you're losing a third of your horsepower, aren't you?
Yeah. This is as much a game of find the puff as find the shift, isn't it? At least. Wow, good punch in the middle of the pack here, though, was.
Yeah.
There's still 8 boats within a few boat lengths of each other.
Langman waxing attack right, lee bow under Woody. Almost too close, I would say. I don't know if we got that. Yeah, we did. Oh, a little bit naughty, I think.
No, perfectly.
You reckon you got away with it?
Okay, I reckon. He was nearly crossing him. Woody should have let him go.
Well, yeah. I saw him have to push the helm up to avoid him. I don't think you can do that. But.
The tack completion is regarded as pretty early these days. So.
You've been to a few rooms lately, Bucko?
No, well, had a few bad decisions from some umpires.
Of course. They're always wrong.
Exactly. Oh, look at that, Seth. Out of shot, but just on the bow here, Yandu, but out to the right, Lumix, Panasonic, in absolutely no wind for a minute. He's still in good shape on the racetrack, though.
So Asco, they're on 2 minutes, so they've got to go to the second mark the first time. So who else is sort of in there? Panasonic.
Well, you think
Panasonic's on a great handicap. They go to the first mark twice.
Yep.
So
he's
the shortcut.
He's winning the handicap race. Pretty
They look quite high up there as well to me. I think they're sort of, these guys in Shark Island look quite low. Looks like quite a lot of wind up near the cruiser up there.
Yeah, on that sort of the Edward side.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Panasonic looks like it's out at the back of the puff a bit. The puff's all on this side of it, so like there's a big bit of wind where the Triple M is over to the left. Which the camera has got now.
Yeah.
They're in the best bit of wind right there. I think Kitchen Maker might have strangled themselves a bit out there, was it? A hard left.
Yeah, they look a little bit sick, don't they?
Be interesting here to see how Keegan goes. To me, I think he's sort of heading. He's just hit a bit of a hole there, but looks like there's good wind that's coming off the point up there.
Could possibly go wrong.
They all look like they've got horrendous angle. These guys coming back on port.
And a little bit of traffic. We've got kayaks, 12-foot skiffs. Geez, it's just gone really soft. As you said, though, Seville, all this pressure seems to be in the right at the moment.
It was interesting, just as they went at that, I think everyone's sort of affected by that big ship that just went past.
Yeah, it's
but I think the angles, Keegan's made quite a big gain there out of the right, I think.
So Sean Langman's hanging in there really well. Gave the old uppercut in the Masters division to Johnny Winning.
Well,
and just as you were talking about the Kitchen Maker before, Bucko, I think we're about to get it in shot. They've actually
they've smashed
come back.
They've smashed it.
So I don't rev up your tickets today, is it?
No. I'll give up talking about it, I think.
Yeah, well.
Wow. Tough day.
Yeah.
And a lot of congestion here in the Dardanelles.
Yeah, we've got all the Finns. They've Jay Harrison out there.
Oh dear.
So this is Ewan today sailing on the Smeg.
Yeah, Ewan driving the bus.
He's had a bit on lately, Sevy, with that falling project.
Yeah, he was over in San Fran doing the Etchell Worlds with the big fella.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, he was the Anne Murray's coach for the Olympics and the Stars. So he's done a lot of different yachting over the last 15 years. Well, you won your first JJs with Ewan, right, in the Club Marine?
Yeah, Ewan sort of taught us everything I knew, actually.
Yeah.
It was very good to start off with. It's funny. Yeah, he's a perfectionist. Just looking at their setup, it's very deep, isn't it?
Looks perfect for the wind speed. Wouldn't want 2 knots more wind though, would you, Sev?
They look very deep compared to the other guys.
Yeah, no, they look well powered up though, so. Triple M, look at Triple M over to the left there, they don't look too much different.
The thing is, though, Seb, if you don't have the adjustable rigs, it's easy to get caught out if setting up too soft.
That's it. They just look very deep and quite open, I think, as well. It looks like they're losing power, like they've got people in the boat, and their main sort of ease. It's like they're funny sort of setup.
Yeah, they don't sail the same way that you guys sort of did, Sev. They're always a bit twisted and a bit, oh well.
Yeah, Fang's a 49er, so. Yeah, and you see Reese, I think he's just not easing the sheet. I think that's the way now, to me. It's, you're just not losing any power in the mainsail, especially when you've got people in. To me, that's a better way to do it.
The setup's still too flat, this one though, isn't it?
Reese was very good at that at night.
was a big thing. Big fella used to make us do. We weren't allowed to ease the main sheet until we were fully out on the trapeze.
Oh, that's right. That's completely correct. You should just put it in a clue and put it all on the screen. If you could handle that.
I think they're actually, just looking, I think they've got the best set. I think they're going pretty quick, those guys.
Yeah, got all right there. Ooh. Plenty of congestion there. So they're all the guys with long handicaps going to the first mark number 1. Just watch the Triple M was. Yep.
Sorry, it was. Yeah.
I'm not getting the mic back.
It's just started to go very grey on the harbour here. I think we're not far away from some rain, it looks like.
Well, fortunately, Seb, the rain is to the northwest of us and the wind's from the southeast, so hopefully it can't advance. It may do so.
Just looking here, it looks like they're all pretty tight. I think now they go over to Clark Island. Is that the same course that we used to do?
Yeah, they do the triangle.
So they're all, I think they're going to lay that in one, which is going to make it, it looks like they're all pretty pressed to get up there, I think. Looks like it could go a little lighter under the point here, but at the moment, the leader's aiming at the harbour bridge, so...
Three-buoys in this stuff. Decimates the fleet, doesn't it? A pile of pain
I always remember on this course as well, when doing the handicap race, the people that have to go to the top mark end up getting sucked under Point Piper here, and the other guys end up getting a bit of a break. Like you can see the leader now, from going the short mark, he's sort of a lot deeper than everyone else and stays out of the lee of Double Bay. It's quite you get the double punishment being the trailing boats.
Looking like punishment all round to me at this point. Wow. Got a bit of... We're on the windward side of the rain was, and we're getting fully suppressed, yeah?
It's really gone soft down the bottom. If you look at the guys in here there.
You know, the wind coming on the windward side of the rain squall. Very soggy.
It's funny, the forecast was to get round to the southeast today, I think, a little bit later on. I don't know.
Well, I think this is southeast, Seth. Now.
This is just there. I'm just looking at the...
Feel like cold bit of stuff.
So, yeah, the boys alluding to was sharing, 3 of us sharing 2 mics now, but man, this is just shutting down and looking really ugly. And over the city, North Sydney and the city, it's just really misty, and the flags are just drooping off Sydney Harbour. And just, what are we looking at? We've got the Noakes here, and then Lumix, and just behind them, Triple M is just becalmed. It's really, this will end up being like an ocean race.
Get up the shortened course flag, was it?
Absolutely.
So there's now...
It's funny, the leader's sort of laid in one and he's below the mark right now. These guys all got stuck under the lee here, and like once I think they get into the natural breeze further down, I think they're actually way below the lay. Like the leader's aiming below the mark right now.
I think he's pretty happy though.
Oh, he's got a good lead.
So I can tell you that Mr. Winning is last but one at this point. So he was in good shape halfway up the beat.
Yeah, it's just brutal how quickly it's changed. And the leader, he would have like, what, a 3-minute lead now. Now a little bit of breeze is coming up and down. It's, yeah.
These guys are going to be dropping their spinning to get to the mark, I reckon.
Well, yeah, well, Rag and Famish went a long way on starboard jibe, and as you said, with this sou'easter, and the rain is coming, boys. Well, the rain is here. So I think Jono needs to get a new weather forecaster.
Holy hell. Well, so if you recall, we got some pretty good footage in a nice rain squall in the JJs last year. I hope it doesn't rain that hard.
No. No, we don't need that. So this could all change around again. So I dare say the lead is gone, unless something really dramatic happens. It's still a good battle going on between Noakes. So Sean just gets that sou'easter there. Bow goes down 40 degrees. And
Rich is going to get Rich.
yeah.
I think he's going to get around the mark, and before then these guys are all going to have to drop their spinnakers to get around this mark, I think.
Yeah. Well, the kitchen maker's not going to lay at this stage.
Just looking at this 12-foot skiff here, he's in the sou'easter, and I think the leader's just going to get around before it hits, and then he'll be taking that down to the bottom mark. I think there's going to be a big gap for the leader here.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't, if you just come round to the left and pick up the leader, please, Blake. He hasn't quite got that sou'easter yet.
No,
Sevy, has he? It's still very soft.
But he's at the jibe.
Yep. Well, he's driving now.
So capsize just happened behind us. One of the...
Who went down? I can't pick it up. Yeah.
So it looks like Ewan here's made a massive gain coming down in the... He was a long way back, and I think now he's probably just going to get there. I think all the guys underneath him, they're all starting to drop now. So the high lane was definitely the big gainer down that run. So he'll test all the bowmen out here, I think, this drop mark.
Yeah, so Steve Quigley and Sean Langman having a good little tussle there.
Yeah, I think we're okay, yeah.
So what are we looking at? We're looking at the rags here coming into the mark. So it's gone all soft again, huh? It definitely shifted.
Not bad pressure in the middle of the harbour was.
It's all going to be about pressure.
But softer than it was, but not too bad.
The biggest gainer there was the Smeg boys. I think they were sort of they went to the top mark and were still last at the top, and they're back into fourth.
Yeah. which is a good effort, isn't it, to get back from all that. But you actually sail into lighter air as well by going to the top mark. You not only lose the angle, you lose the pressure.
Yeah, the execution though is still better than the rest of the fleet, so
yeah,
that's quite important.
as you would expect.
In this sort of air, almost southerly on the right-hand side of the track, looking upwind.
Looks like it's going very soft again at the top, isn't it?
Mm.
The lead is still rolling away from us so pretty nicely, Sebio. There's 2 strings. He looks pretty steady.
That's happy days. So Yandu, he's out of shot. I know we got him in shot actually. He's actually come back to us. He's brought a bit of pressure down with him. And while not overtaking a lot of boats, he's actually caught back up to the pack. And he looks like in good shape, just continuing on that jibe at the moment, where all the other guys that jibed at the mark are looking a bit sick.
I think he's be setting up here.
Looks like Nick Daly's back to his normal self, trying to force the other guy around the other side of the mark there.
All right, well. So, yeah, Sean Langman did a number on the kitchen maker quite quickly. We'll go up, have a look at this pack.
Well, whilst the guys behind us are in a big line of nearly southerly wind now, the breeze another 20 degrees further right.
Yep.
Appliance online on port jibe bow at the mark, near enough. Not in shot, but
The lead is way ahead. He looks like he's trying to fog his chute. Is he trying to get around that island there? I think like Bucko said, the breeze has sort of come out of the south now, and I think he's a bit overlaid for that bottom arc. Looking at all that,
he's still about 1,000 miles in front.
He's got a very good lead.
So yeah, Rags initiates a jibe. Smeg just keep moving a little bit of progress forward. And with the kitchen maker just ahead of this little battle here, so a 4-way battle really. But geez, the breeze is just so different in different parts of the harbour right now, isn't it?
Looking at the rag there, they're just getting to the heading puff now, and guys up high have still got more right.
It looks like the big gainers on the other side, Peroni and sort of...
Peroni and Yandu, yeah.
Sort of coming around all these guys' bows on this side, and it looks like you said, Sean Langman's made a massive gain down this run on the pack he rounded with.
Yeah. Well, Nick Daly and John Winning, they haven't jibed yet, so they've been on just that same jibe.
Actually looks like there's a lot of breeze coming down for this next upwind out of Double Bay now. It's sort of
like
8 or 9 knots increase, it looks like, over the last couple of minutes.
And more rain.
Yeah, we're really on the front side of a new squall, Seb.
Yeah. Huge gains by the Peroni.
And more wetness for us.
So Peroni's jibe, so we're going to get a clear indication of the gains that Peroni has made in just a minute's time.
They would have been a minute behind the Smeg guys at that wing mark now, and I think they're going to be crossing them by 400 metres, 300-400 metres it looks like here. Massive gains.
Yeah. and Cooper's just rolling smeg just out of our shot, but we're about to get this Peroni clear perspective, and you can see Peroni there in the distance, and yeah, they're 100 metres ahead, haven't they? So they've probably made a net of, I don't know, 300 metres down this last part of the run.
Certainly nearly 2 minutes, I would have thought it was.
Yeah.
Whatever that equates to.
And as we said, we can just pick it up on the screen too a little bit with the kit maker driving inside Peroni, and clearly long way down there is Note Sailing, Sean Langman, who those boys nailed that run quite nicely as well. So we'll just try and get up to this bunch and get the rounding at the bottom mark for the first time. Yandu, who was last, is now in, I think, about 5th.
Yeah, they've come from second last to 5th in the run.
So brilliant run from Woody Winning. So around second place is Note Sailing, having a really good day so far.
Well, that's Aaron Everett driving that boat. Jono Whitty's old crew.
Yeah, he pushed him out the back.
Look what happens when Jono comes off the boat.
Things up there.
Wowee, boys.
Oh, Peroni's
Pictures
not having a good drop here.
Pictures of the Peroni doing a very late job drop.
The kitchen maker will do the inside turn here.
Still,
can't hear Nick.
big scramble on the
Must have
Peroni.
learned.
I think he said to me today he pulled his bowman out of the bar. So
Yeah, right. They're good credentials.
He's recruited pretty well, and the
He's
bloke
done
did
pretty
quite
well.
The bloke did a good job.
pretty well for a guy that's come out of the pub. Oh, he's yelling. He's back. Welcome back, Nick.
He hasn't got Steve Thomas to belt him, keep him under control. So Woody, look at that, he's right back in there. I don't think the guy will have the highest impression about sailing after this day. I think we're going back to the bar.
You'll have to go see a psychologist, I think.
Been an expensive day on the water. These 6 months of intensive therapy.
Well, Smeg did some good burglary.
Oh, the
there's the
Lumix in.
capsize.
Have we got it? Yeah, a little bit to your right, Blake.
In the direct.
There she goes. Oh, the poor buggers. Anyway. So, yeah. So, ASCO, I'm just having a look what their handicap was. See, they're on 2 minutes, so they had to go to the middle mark that time. They go to the middle mark again.
Good up there. Breeze is back to the east down the bottom here now. Look at that.
Isn't it funny, though, sometimes I've seen it a lot, where you have these runs and it's very light air, and then you just get, like, you know, in this wind range, another 5 knots. It doubles it, and all of a sudden people get caught out.
Yeah.
And make mistakes that they wouldn't sort of normally be doing because they're not in that zone.
I remember last year in the JJs, me and Marcus, and we capsized in this sort of thing. It was really light at the top, and we just didn't adapt to the heavy air at the bottom and tried to do it in light air, and bang.
Oh, that was a pretty good rain score, Seth.
Not the one where there was a graveyard down here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was, yeah.
It had a bit of 20, 22 knots on the front. You might not have figured it out, but it was. And that's the problem, you know.
All right, let's move up to this battle that we've got here between Yandu, Kitchen Maker, Peroni, Appliances Online, Rag and Famish, and ASCO. All not that, we're not going to get them all in shot, but that's the battle. We'll just get up a little bit closer. Brett Van Munster's got 2 young guys out of the lake on Appliances Online. So I expect as I get more experienced, as we get closer to Christmas, I'll just keep improving. David Witt, the old steerer of that boat, and Tommy Clout, the sheet hand, about to do a very different race in a few hours' time, Sevy.
Yeah, I think he'll wish he was back here tonight, I reckon.
Tommy won't be sort of fishing in the mornings and just going for a little 2-hour lap of Sydney Harbour. It'll be 2 weeks at sea on freeze-dried food and getting abused by Whitty.
We used to always give Tom a bit of a joke about him. He used to always love doing his moisturiser before he used to go. I think he's going to have a bit on doing that in that race.
Yeah, I think so. He might come back. Might have to get a facelift or something when he gets back.
Spending 30 days at sea with Dave Witt, that's another problem.
Well, that's another long-term therapy
exactly.
requirement after the race.
Breeze is definitely building here. It's comfortably.
Yeah. So on the front of the score here now, the breeze back in direction to pretty much where it was 25 minutes ago. So compass wind about probably around 100, 120 in that range.
Yeah, well, fully 3 strings and starting to use a little bit of sheet at times.
Yeah, so strength up to 10 and 11 here, I'd say.
Nice flat water though for them, or relatively flat water.
Looks like Sean Langman's pulled a bit of time out of the leader there, I think, as well.
Yeah,
they seem to be going pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, they're going really well. Well, he's got a lot more weight on the boat than he had last year with Reese and Fang on today.
I did some sailing with Reese in the GC32s, and he's a very good sailor, I think.
Yeah.
He'll have that thing going pretty quick, I reckon.
Yeah. So he was telling me about that. Is an Australian guy that is running that campaign?
Yeah, I sailed with him in the one back here in Sydney, but he's doing.
Oh, I see.
I think he's doing the owner drive. I think the guys from Newcastle, and they've got a few British guys that are in his team and are quite good sailors. I think they were all from the BAR America's Cup team.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I haven't seen how the results have been, but
There's just so much of that stuff going on now, isn't there?
it'll be interesting now to see if that all keeps going with the Cup changing back to
Yeah,
see if it affects the foiling catamaran progress.
Well, I think they're going to run like a World Series in the old Cup boats. So we're just on Steve Quigley here in the kitchen maker, pushing out to the right. He tacks now, and it's not a lot of progress either way. You know, everything's a bit spread out at the moment. Just out of shot, Peroni. Not a great tack, but they're okay.
Seems like Nick just loves sailing in gas.
Yeah.
I saw he was in gas the whole way along here, and as soon as Woody tacked, he thought, oh, I'll just tack in Woody's gas as well.
So I think it's sort of covered by Peroni, but I think Smeg's lost out a little bit there by one of the first boats to tack back to the left.
Yeah, I mean, was the breeze structurally gone left here on this beat from the bottom? So the guy that went on port first, which is Smeg, has lost pretty clearly.
So Steve Quigley sailing with his son and Sam Ellis.
These guys seem like a pretty light crew, I think, Steve and his son, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. It doesn't take long for these boats to get fully powered up with this big rig. They really feel like they're slugging through the water. So
Well, you were sailing at around 250 total, weren't you?
yeah, it was funny. I started when we first started in the 18s. I was 220 kilos with Sam and Rob, and then by the end of it, we got up to like 265, 270.
Yeah, right. Just that horsepower, isn't it?
The rigs changed a lot though. They were a lot smaller. I think the second rigs now are probably the big rigs. You know what we had back in the day. So
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean,
So for these light crews that are sailing with these big rigs, powered up rigs, it's tough when it gets windy.
yeah. All right, we'll go up and have a look at our leaders. See how they're getting on. We'll chase them down. Okay, Sean Langman attacking now, clearly in second place, and I think he has made a bit of a dent into the leader. So they're on 5 minutes, so they go to the second mark this time, Noakes.
They've pulled a big chunk of time out of these leaders, I think.
Yeah, that's look like they're sailing really well. Yeah, they're closed right up, haven't they? So Quality Marine Clothing, they're on 8 minutes, so they go to the first mark. So they'll get a shortcut again over Noakes. But with the breeze up a little bit more this time, if it stays in, it won't be such a big deficit.
What's the crew weight on this boat here, Seth, that we're looking at now?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I was surprised seeing Aaron drive. I didn't know Aaron was driving this year.
Okay. Jono, what's the crew weight, mate?
I asked Aaron about it. They're all pretty big, actually. The guy that's sailing on the bow, Jeff, he's about 6'7" or something like that, and Aaron's about 6'6". So they're all pretty tall guys. They're big giants, and I think they're going to go well this season. I think they've got a good team with them and a good boat to pull them through.
They got the anchor off the back of the boat this year.
Yeah, they did. They got rid of me.
You're a hard man, Sevi.
They're certainly tall, and they're certainly swinging. They're looking a bit deep in the mainsail, Sev, eh?
You reckon?
So looking a lot more stable this time in this area, a lot less boats, traffic-wise as well.
Different bit of water completely.
Yeah.
For a new crew, these guys look like they're going really good.
Yeah,
Hiking
no,
hard. They're,
pretty stable.
yeah. Aaron's doing an awesome job here, just watching, and they're doing bloody well. He's got his arms out over his head. He's putting in.
505 style.
Yeah. Interesting to see how they do their tack here. It's a little bit windier and fresh team, new team to the season. Everyone's always a little bit rusty, so
Pretty nice heel angle, though, Seb.
they're sailing well.
Start from there. Always will work, won't it?
So really good breeze coming here out of the point here.
All right, here they go, setting up now.
There it goes.
Little slip, but
Not too bad.
yeah,
Where Jib,
nice and flat.
Jib just, yeah.
Definitely sailing well above their handicap if they're off 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The outstretched arm tells you a story, doesn't it? A bit.
The what, mate? Yeah.
Like Jono said, they're all very tall guys.
Yeah.
Ideal for...
It's like adding another foot on the wings.
Yeah.
Oh, they're looking for very comfortable there. Fantastic integration of the three bodies in the wind flow. And no main sheet going in or out really, just a tiny bit, yeah?
I think Aaron's actually a Qantas pilot. I think he drives the planes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he probably got some feel for it.
Looks like the so the top part of the main looks a bit funny. I don't know if it's batten tension or...
Nah, they're just a little bit over bent, but that's probably not hurting him, was. You know, at the bottom batten, the mains is probably just a fraction too deep, and the extra twist perhaps compensates for that. They've gained on Noakes there, was.
Yeah.
In that last
Yeah, they
sequence.
have.
They're sailing really well.
Yep. Stop.
Yeah, it's quite a short distance, isn't it, between the marks today? The blue and red marks, quite close.
But as you said though, Sevy, I mean, we're not seeing it on shot, but look at the angle of the marks and the leverage you get by every time you go a mark further, you're going to get hurt more and more on the run, angle-wise. The guys that go around this first mark, which I think we said they do, angle-wise, they're just going to blast out of there.
I think the leader here looks like he might be going all the way to the ley line.
Well, it looks like there's pressure across the water to do it.
Yeah, he's just setting up to attack now.
So they do go straight down this time. They don't go to Clark Island, so it's sort of VMG run with a bit of bias on the port jibe.
Yeah. These two leaders have stepped away from the pack. I think they've both of these guys have sailed really well at this beat.
It's hard to see where the threat's going to come from for the podium for those two.
Yeah.
Unless they do something silly.
Seems like Woody's sort of hanging in there. Kitchenmaker's still... They were sort of with Noakes though, weren't they, halfway down the last run, so they've lost a little bit, but these two have definitely stepped away.
Yeah, well no, Woody's done well. I mean, when we consider where he was at the top mark the first time, he's come right back into it. So clean set there.
Not quite. But still.
Yeah.
A lot of new faces. I don't know many of these guys, but they look like they're doing a very good job.
Yeah, it's good to have that. It's going to be a struggle sometimes in between, sort of like phases of sailors to fill the spots. It can take a little while, can't it?
Yeah. They've obviously done some skiff sailing somewhere else, I think. You can tell they look very competent.
Okay, and Sean Langman's around.
Got some technique. So, for everybody, quality marine
So
clothing.
didn't hurt. Sorry. Okay.
Aaron Everett, Courtney Marr, and Jeff Little in the bow, according to our list here, crew list.
So did they go to the right mark, Noakes? Or they went to the short mark? Didn't they went to go to the middle mark?
Yeah. Well, that's what I've got. Hang on. Noakes one. Oh no, Noakes Youth. I was looking at. What are we saying? Noakes starting. No, they're on the same handicap. Yep. So that's right. So they did go there. So they didn't cheat. Didn't take the shortcut.
It's like the big loser here was the Smeg boys here this beat. They were sort of with this pack, weren't they, before?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they got hurt. They got hurt at the start of the beat. So.
Yeah, well, they sort of midway up, they were the first to go back to the left, and it sort of hurt them, didn't it?
It's amazing. You get out of phase on this track, and it really hurts you.
Punishes you, yeah. So it feels like it's got a little bit
I think
softer again.
you're remembering one race in the Gildan last year, said where you got absolutely belted. You ended up stuck out on the left.
Oh, there's plenty of times we got belted.
Oh dear. Hands up anybody who hasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
I think there was one race, I think the year we lost it, we were almost a leg ahead.
Yeah, I remember one day, yeah.
With a leg to go, and we ended up blowing that and coming 12th in that race and blowing there's definitely a lot of headaches on this wind
This
direction.
track, yeah.
Yeah, never my favourite either.
Yeah, well, there's certain tracks where there's sort of 80% rules, aren't they? In this one, there's not.
Yeah, this is particularly tough in Big Sail. Like if it's a bit windier, it's not too bad, but in Big Sail, it's.
Yeah, I've never seen this course run in second sail.
Well.
Funny, it's overcast today, so usually it's an easterly, it's quite blue sky and sunny, so you got all the punters out with all their boats as well, just to throw in the mix. So the traffic's bad today, but not as bad as normal, I don't think.
Not even close, mate. Hey.
So Steve Quigley, the boys are around next, and then Peroni. So as you said, the two leaders have gone, but it's really in the mid pack where the fight for the third spot's going to be.
You can see now the effect of the middle mark. Like Kitchenmaker here are going to have to jibe probably before the rocks where the other guys get a fair way down, I think, and it's going to even be worse for the guys that have to go to that top mark.
Peroni just come round on a good one.
Thank you.
Oh, there goes Nick again.
Oh, God. Can't say that, Nick. So what are we looking at?
We have
Jono
vapors
up
on
in the air. What are we looking at, Jono?
She's live to where. That was a crow call.
Peroni?
Yeah.
So here we go. So Peroni went to the shortest mark. Kitchenmaker led, so they'll drive on top, but not close enough to interfere, I don't think. And the Kitchenmaker will probably get clear air.
So maybe that's the end of the. Oh no, more rain up at the other end of the harbour.
Yeah, it's starting to break up a little bit, huh?
But look up at Manly.
Ooh,
fresh
doesn't
one.
look good.
Fresh one. Indeed. Big split in the leaders, not on camera, but a long way away, and they're separated by about a mile now.
Yeah.
Either sides of the track.
I think it looks like the leader's got away from Sean there a little bit.
Yes, I was just looking at that. And they've just done a number on him. So we're on Peroni from the drone at the moment, but yeah, Aaron's gone.
It looks like Nick's got Jack Hubbard on the boat in the middle as well. He's a
Okay.
young little sort of yacht sailor.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember Jack did a little bit of sailing with Ash in the 29ers in the very, very early days.
Yeah, right.
He did all the youth academy stuff down at the CY. But he's small. They wouldn't have a lot of weight on that.
Funny, it's just gone very light again on the course, hasn't it?
Yeah. So just to recap, where are we at? We've got Kitchenmaker in third, Peroni fourth, Coop appliances, 5th, Rag and Famish, Triple M, Yandu. So it's all starting to break up. And looking right back, guys, I'm only seeing Smeg just go the furthest, but they've just been hammered.
The rich are getting richer today.
Yeah. Same thing happened in this course last week. All right, it's a bit hard to know what to focus on. It's like it's all so spread apart at the moment, isn't it?
Keep on the kitchen maker, maybe.
Yeah. So what sale you got coming up, Seth?
I'm doing the Etchells next week. We've got this Queensland Stakes up in Brisbane at Royal Queensland, and then just doing a lot of sort of yacht stuff, the McConaughey 38s, and all sort of bits and pieces, which is good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That program you're in there with the Etchells, it's pretty full on, isn't it?
Yeah, it sort of
throws some resources and time at it.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually. It's sort of sailing with a lady called Jean Claude, who she's super keen and does a very good job, runs a very good program, and it's good to be in part of it actually. It's good.
Yeah, right. And very different to what you've been doing for the last sort of 8 years or whatever it is, 9 years.
Yeah.
Different style of racing. It's all inches, isn't it? So
yeah, to make half a length's a big thing.
yeah, exactly.
You enjoying the Etchell rig? Sev, it's gotten incredibly tricky now, hasn't it, with mast rams and all sorts of...
Yeah, I've actually learned a lot about all that. They're very technical boats.
They are, yeah.
Sort of last couple of months training against big fella and my dad's team GT. And
well, they got second in the Worlds, didn't they?
Yeah,
San Fran?
Yeah, they sailed very well.
Did you enjoy it in San Fran? Was it pretty straightforward? Because I did a couple of regattas. I did 4 there in the Melbourne, but around that time of the year, it sort of got tricky. Late September or mid-September, it started to get pretty tricky.
It was quite funny. The sort of weeks before, it was really windy, and then it started to fade out. And it was you really had to be able to. We didn't start well at all, and it was sort of had to hold to one lane and get to one side, and if you got bounced off the start line, you were sort of in trouble. It was the first sort of 30 seconds really set up your race.
Yeah.
If you couldn't hold a lane or you couldn't start, you were sort of 2 minutes behind in the first 30 seconds, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, painful. Get the old pinball effect.
Well, in that fleet, it's huge.
Brutal.
How many boats did you have?
It was, I think it was 60 in the end or something.
That's enough. That's enough of those.
Yeah. Funny, they always seem to get together at the top marks.
Yeah, whether a whole bunch go left, a whole bunch go right, and you're sort of
you think you're looking good, and you're coming in sort of 7th, and then you're coming in on port, and then you've got to duck the train, and all of a sudden you're 40th.
Yeah.
A good drone of the leader here, guys.
Yeah.
Nice pictures.
It's a new online business, I'm told. Online clothing business.
Bad waves.
Yeah. It's on your side, Bucko, so it's okay. We haven't got Woody to bolt that down yet, Seven. So, down to the bottom mark for the second time. So once they get down here, they'll go all the way upwind again into Rose Bay, and then just down to the finish at Clark Island. So
just a short run.
Funny, they made quite a big lead, but now I reckon I reckon that they're losing quite quickly. Just here, they've sort of got two people in the middle of the boat, and you look up at the other guys, and they're flying down the outside. I reckon you'll see by the bottom. I reckon this will be quite compressed again. I reckon.
Yeah.
Like it's still quite a big lead now, but I think for me, I reckon it will get halved by the bottom.
Well, they travel so fast, don't they, Seb? It's sort of like the differential in speed between sort of having 6 knots of breeze and 12 knots is enormous.
Yeah, they did a really good job. Hopefully they can hold it out to the bottom.
Here he goes now. He's been a little puff again now. Typically, this mark is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you can run out of wind where the second boat is, or you can. It just lifts off as it comes towards this shoreline. Too many apartment buildings, mate. Stop them to build it. Stop building it.
The kitchen makers coming down the harbour looking on quite a good angle. These guys.
They've got more pressure and better angle than...
They've actually done the best. They're coming at Noakes. These guys are very soft ahead here. They've got one string.
Pretty soggy all round.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the top of the bridge and at the flags, and they're not on shot, but you'd say the wind up there is pretty strong. It's not down here at the water level at all. It's
and quite south, Bucko.
Yeah, quite south, exactly.
Well, the pack's made a big gain down here.
Yeah, well, they've
come with a good headed puff, mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. They've come... Are we on it? If we just come back around, we'll pick up Noakes, Blake, and you'll get the cross in a minute. They've come back on a shocker, and the kitchen maker and Peroni have come down on a really good pressure and angle. So
this is now a bit of right-handed wind just filling into the bottom, and look at the leader now, headed on port jibe into the mark. So
yeah, it's not in shot, but yeah, he's looking all right.
He's looking all right again, and he's got enough pressure to get down there easily. So, and good right hand to get out. So
yeah, just as importantly. Yeah. Geez, I mean, it's out of shot, but on our starboard side looks very soft in there, guys.
Yeah.
And he's got the ley line a little bit comfortably into the bottom, but I'll get that.
They've done a good job down here. They've still got a pretty decent lead.
Yeah, they do.
They're going to round into this puff, so they'll happily get out of the bow here, I think.
Yeah, well, it's the puff's just coming down to them now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Nice drop. Well, not quite.
Well, we'll see in a few minutes whether Nick Daly's pub man has learnt anything in the last lap.
He's been doing. I've seen Nick. He's been doing a few jives. Everything. He's getting paid by the mile today.
What is it, jug and jive or something?
He's giving that guy a bloody workout, I think. Better get the earplugs ready for the bottom arc.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. And the beep button.
The beep button.
No delay, Bucko.
Erase the soundtrack. Oh, I mean, that was one of the great attractions of the old Grand Prix, wasn't it?
Oh, well, luckily that was all post-edited.
Yeah, fortunately.
Otherwise, it would never have been allowed on TV. So Noakes still second, but is lost a bit to the leaders.
Are they laying this mark
here?
Caught up. Are they going to get there in this job?
No, they're going to have to drive again, I think.
Yeah. Butcher that up a little bit there. That's going to be
that's going to bring
painful manoeuvre. That is jive, then a jive drop.
Yeah, and then the kitchen maker is going to bring Steve quickly right back in on this to be right on his stern, which will come into shot in a second. No, what are we on the drone shot? But you'll pick up the kitchen maker in a second.
It's got these pack coming down here.
That's a better view of it. We might just run to the outside of this lot here.
Here we go. We're going to see Nick's drop. See
So he's under load, so he's going to struggle.
There we go. I heard the first yell.
Yeah, like Van Munster.
A big square run now. The breeze hard right here. Jesus. Little rain squall again, guys.
So, Tripsy,
all these guys here have actually got Boyrum on in the Rag and Famish here. Ika's actually got rights to go in there, I think.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
I'd love
exactly.
To see that with Nick.
Yeah.
Actually,
So the front of the score brings the pack back together
the
again.
rag going for a jibe with a shoot down the other side, still not easy. And they've all compressed, haven't they? Look at this.
Massive
And
compression down
Asco
the
coming
bottom.
in as well. And the Smeg, a little bit out of shot. Yeah, there goes Nick. I can't quite make out what he's saying, but he's certainly saying something.
He's right, he got around there all right, just.
And then the Smeg boys coming back to the pack. Ewan McNichol on the helm today. Still going. Oh, the Smeg nearly in. No, all good. And then the next will be DeLonghi.
big rain squall coming here.
Ooh. See Grant Rollerson on the sheet today, having a little step back. Been doing a bit of moth sailing lately. He went to Garda into the Worlds.
Wow. Oh, we'll get. Maybe we'll just motor up through the fleet. Wouldn't be too bad, would it?
So Simon Nern, the mighty Commodore of the 18-footer skiff club.
These guys here look like they got a bit on this.
Yeah,
Ilvey
the
boat.
Ilvey. We're just tightening on that, Blake, yeah. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of rush going on in the boat. No urgency.
Oh, it looks like at the bottom's going under the boat. This could go bad here. Uh-oh.
Needs a bit of Nick
Has he
Daly
run over
encouragement.
that? Yeah, a bit of yelling.
Oh, this could go
I think
bad.
they've run over it. Are they going to save it? Oh, they're prawn. Oh, there they go.
They got it in.
They got it.
I think he needs to go to the gym.
It might bring up a bit of lunch.
So the Noakes Youth, new team on the Noakes Youth this year. Kirk Mitchell
Very
from
very
from
early
Drummoyne.
jibe. Very early jibe. Was going to run square to the mark.
Oh, it's his first year. Just come out of Cherubs. They're learning Bucko. Mains
Actually,
inverted.
sort of caught. They had a capsize on the first run, I think.
Yeah.
Sort of.
No, they'll go all right.
Isn't it?
They'll go all right. Because all three of them are new to the class. All three of them just out of.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
There's a bit
here
of
we go.
action.
The inside overlap.
This is a bit of action.
Fenport.
Oh,
Oh, what are they?
hey,
They're going to turn or? Oh, Keegan. New signage on there.
Oh, here we go. Oh.
All right, so let's cruise back up and see what's going on.
Get properly wet. Was.
Yeah. Well, I did. At least I brought my full wet weather gear.
Got the smock.
Always.
Got the smock.
Always.
Severe, we going in for frostbite treatment.
Yeah, just getting a few goosebumps on the knees.
I just see the sea deck boat coming out. I think a few of the old past 18 footers guys, Marcus Jones, they might be on that thing today.
Yeah, so this is very comfortable going up. So we've got about sort of, what are we doing, 21? Probably got about 28, 30 miles an hour. Wind over the deck, bit of rain.
Very pleasant.
Very good. Glad you came out, Sam.
Yeah, it's just like San Francisco.
Exactly. So we'll go and might just sit behind the Smeg for a minute. We had one of our viewers from the UK ask some technical questions and wanted an expert. That's certainly not me. So I went and spoke to Ricky Bridge, who's the sheet hand and mainsail trimmer on this boat, championship winning boat. And I think Chits might be able to get it up, and we'll keep our viewers in the UK happy and hopefully informed. So just you let us know, Chits, when you're ready to go.
No, he's good there.
Then while that's running, we'll go down below and get a cup of coffee.
Going to the owner's accommodation.
So it's, geez, it's all starboard hand up here, isn't it? Shows how much the breeze is rotated right.
Yeah, not far off laying really, are they?
Yeah.
Quite close. Bows at Shark Island.
Yeah.
So for anybody interested, here we are, Smeg in downrange 2-string setup sort of thing. Pretty deep, both sails, main sheet pinned on pretty solid. And as Sev was observing, the boats do sail very well here if you can just clamp the main sheet on and run up and down the rack.
Hey, yeah. Okay, just run it when you're ready, Chit. So it's a little piece with the bridge.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You ready?
Here with Ricky Bridge, our expert, main sheet trimmer and sheet hand on the Smeg. We've got a question from one of our viewers in the UK, Ricky, and he asks, does the last pull of the main sheet bend the top mast and flatten the top of the sail?
Well, it does a little bit, but it doesn't really affect the flatness of the main. Essentially what we're doing there is just trying to hold leech tension, and I guess the stiffness of the mast allows us to do that without bending the top of the rig and flattening out the head of the main.
So, so the next thing he asks is, does adjusting the caps have any effect on that, or what is the effect of changing the caps?
Yeah, well, look, the caps do have an impact on that, and definitely depending on the loads that you carry on your caps, can obviously the more loads you carry, you can flatten out the head of the main and adjust according to your main. So yeah, they can have an impact, and we're definitely conscious of that when we're setting up our rigs.
And the final question is, do you alter the rake for different wind strengths?
We tend not to necessarily alter the rake, but more and more boats are going to adjustable shrouds and backstays. So you want to keep your backstays or your caps and your shrouds at the same ratio, and you're starting to see a lot more of the boats going to an adjustable shroud adjustment. So not essentially changing your rake, but definitely changing the tension and the setup of your mast, depending on the wind conditions.
All right, mate. Well, thanks very much for that, and have a good race today.
Thanks, Woz. See you guys.
Thanks, Ricky. So I hope that answered a few of the questions that were sent out, and if any of the viewers want to do that, I think you can do it on the 18-footer skiff Facebook page. That's where Kimberly got that one from. All right. So,
interesting here, a ferry coming round Bradley's Head. It's been out of everyone's vision, I think, coming up this shore, and then it could change a few people's game plans here, I think.
The breeze has gone a bit more left. Just looking at these guys a bit more bow down, the Smeg coming into Bradley's.
Just a little bit of bend and then a couple of big holes in the wind, as Sevy was observing.
I think there's a lot more in this race. Looking up ahead, it looks very flaky up the top in Rose Bay.
Guys out to the right here down to 1 string. Yeah, the top, the last 500 yards up to that mark, the last 800 yards might be pretty difficult, I'd say.
So there's a good battle here, really, isn't it, between Smeg, Asco, Peroni, Yandu, Triple M, and appliances. I mean, they're all sort of in there. Rags just off the back of that.
Well, the fleet got brought back together on the run pretty neatly.
Just looking at Sean Langman way up ahead. He's just sort of, well, he's tacking now. He was in a massive header there. It'll be interesting to see what kind of angle he comes out of. He looks pretty soft.
Just not very windy.
So if we remember, we'll go up and see those guys, but if we remember, Dave Quigley and the Kitchen Maker was right on the stern of Noakes at the bottom mark, so we'll go up and have a look at that and see how each boat's windward beaters panned out.
impressive.
So Sean Lehman just tacked just below and in front of the kitchen maker before, and it's kitchen makers had to tack, bounce back, so that battle's super close.
The other thing that does, it causes a split for the leader. I think here looks like he's trying to cover, and that's forcing one guy out to the other side and Sean out to the left. So it's going to be one thing I found on this course. It was super hard to cover, and if he goes into defensive mode here, it's very easy to get caught out of phase, and you can lose time very quickly.
Yeah, right. Sort of like wondering which one to cover, and
I think he's got to just back himself here. He's done a good job the whole race. And
yeah.
If he goes now into defensive mode, you'll watch that deficit halve very quickly.
So this time he has to go to Mark 2. Okay, so I think they all are going to go to Mark 2 this time. Yeah.
It's good to see he's tacked off and backed himself there and not gone into that big hole. So he's sailing very well, Aaron. He's doing.
Yeah.
I think this would be his first win. Has he won a race this season?
No.
So probably a big thing for him to get a win.
Yeah, for sure. It's great for your confidence, isn't it?
First year steering.
Yeah. It's interesting. As you said before, it's hard to know which is backwards. It looks like to me it's out of shot. The kitchen maker has lost a bit then.
Yeah, looks like quite good breeze coming out of Shark Island here. So
yeah,
interesting to see. I think Aaron's tacked at a really good spot. I think he'll open up a little bit again here.
He's preserved the most wind here, I think, just on the side of the island here.
Just as we say that.
Yeah. Just shut down. Did we just put a hex on the guy?
Yeah, the kitchen maker looks not that good in there at the moment.
No.
Sean behind.
He's straight behind us. He's all right. He's two strings, sort of. Same pressure. I mean, he looks like where he's going to. There's wind all the way to the shore now.
Yeah, at least now it looks a little bit more consistent up the track. Before it was looking quite flaky. And
yeah. But we've got consistent wind and nice dribbling rain. Beautiful. Unusually cool day now for Sydney. And
yeah, I could use a thermal actually.
The bear suit, where is?
starting to look back a lot on these guys. I think they're starting, the nerves are starting to come in.
Get a little leg shake.
Before they haven't been looking back all race, and now every 2 seconds they keep looking back. I think the nerves are coming in.
It stood into pressure beautifully here.
Yeah. No, they're sailing well. They just got to keep doing what they've been doing.
Exactly. Great bit of wind they've got there. Full 3 strings job, I think. Mucking the jib. Yep. Good header.
Sort of header here, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Yeah, you're not far off laying the top marker. That ain't good.
Yeah, just flop her over. Yeah, no need to push the right hand edge too hard.
I got them sort of weighing almost at that angle, but obviously it's quite shifty up the top.
You go to the edge.
So they go to the middle mark now, did you say?
Yeah, I think all 3 of these, or the first 3 boats, all go to the middle mark. It's good, little easy jib going into the tack. I picked that up. Nice smooth tack.
Wow.
So Noakes tacks back, stays in phase, so that's good for these guys. So they're not going to, Noakes isn't going to get the leverage over them, and you can just pick it up. The boat in the distance in the middle is a kitchen maker, and they look like they lost a lot to Noakes sailing just in that last few minutes.
Just looking out the far side, it looks like Nick Daly's going to the casino out there. He's going the other side of the island, way over. And
yeah. Well, John Winning's, I mean, it's out of shot, but John Winning's way north as well.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah, I think
this is where the wind is, right where we are here, I think. These guys have done a good job in the lead, Quality Marine Clothing. Just 2.5 strings, so not too bad, quite fast still. Third guy just not quite on the end of the rack. Nice rig setup, pretty good.
Nick looks like he's lost a lot going over that other side, I think.
The gambler.
He must have been going to Wharf Bar at Manly. Happy hour at 3 o'clock.
Want to start paying off his debt to his foreign over the day.
Bowerman's debt from last night, I think.
Jesus. Yeah, the Noakes has done well there though, guys. He's still hanging in touch, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, one thing the weather has done, there's not much risk of colliding with another boat because there's not many boats on the harbour right now.
We're the only silly ones out here.
Exactly. But we're on the big bucks, Seb, so that's why we do it.
Yeah.
Got to bring home the bacon somehow, son. Yeah, so Noakes has caught up a little bit here.
Well, though, I mean, these guys would probably go to the low line from where they are, I think. 2 less tax was.
Yeah.
It's another 30 seconds or something, depending.
Or 1 less tack, maybe. But yeah. Where are we? So we're on Noakes now. So he's sort of going out to the right trying to find something, but
He's just tacking now.
breeze looks pretty consistent
Yeah.
in this part of the world.
Yeah, the Collie Marine guys look like they might be just sailing a bit high and slow relative to some of the fleet, but
I suppose you got a sunrise though. It does look a little bit soft to leeward of them, so maybe they're just trying to stay in that pressure line, though. High mode.
He's in a good line of wind now.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to have good wind for the downwind. They'll get him the whole way to the finish in almost one job, I think.
Air temperature about -4.
Yeah.
So he's actually done well. He's higher and quite fast relative to the second boat, so pretty comfortable. I
He's
think.
a bit overlay. Oh, he's going to the middle mark.
Yeah, the middle one.
So Sean goes to the middle one as well. On Noakes sailing. And the kitchen maker goes to the middle mark as well. So all 3 of these guys.
So we'll put the clock on here, but I think it looks like about 40 seconds or perhaps a little more. Good puff. More coming. Good set.
Nice set, yeah.
So that's 10 seconds so far. And as you said, Sevy, quite bowed down, aren't they?
Yeah, the tricky bit here will be under Point Pythe, but I think at the moment they're looking pretty comfortable.
30 something.
Yeah, Noakes just coming around now, and it's going to be that back to the kitchen maker again, eh?
About 40 seconds there.
Yeah.
And about another 50 seconds or a bit more, maybe nearly a minute to the kitchen maker. So we would expect they would finish like this, but we'll see. The opera's not over, but the fat lady's warming up.
Yeah, well, we'll just let the kitchen maker get around the mark, and then we'll chase down the leader and pick them up at the finish and cover the podium. How did... Oh, Nick Daly on the windward side. Not too bad, Sevy.
Oh, I think he was actually ahead of appliances at
Oh,
the
was
bottom.
he?
So
Oh, is he? Okay.
I don't know. I definitely thought he was going to lose more. Woody's the one that's got hammered.
Yeah.
Woody. Yeah, the leaders look like they're just sort of going to weigh easily in one, I think.
Yeah.
It's a perfect last run, isn't it, if you're the leader? No jibing.
Yeah, exactly. No risk, no tactical risk. All right, well, let's run up. Doro sort of fell out of it a bit at some stage, didn't he? I didn't sort of quite pick that up. So he was in there going well in the first beat. And
Does look very soft at the finish line up here, like in Double Bay. It looks interesting to see what happens up here.
Well, he's done the pretty conservative thing. He's sailed as deep as he could.
Yeah, I was just going to
Yeah.
say, it looks like the good thing he's done, he's going to be deeper, so it's even going to be worse for these guys here.
These guys are going to
they're
have to
getting
jibe.
lifted, aren't they? Getting
Yeah.
soft and lifted big time.
Aaron's sort of sailing one string and trying to get away from this
Yeah.
wall.
We'll
Defending
see.
quite well.
Yeah, he might almost get there without jibing, where you would have to imagine that Langman, well, here he goes, he's jibing now.
Yeah, Aaron's just now started to hit a bit of a hole. Probably he's jibed out. So he's
Yeah, right.
protecting.
Just covering it.
Problem is here, his jibe was not a good jibe. Ooh. All right, there's plenty more in this, I think, here, guys.
Yeah, right.
Well, Seb, you know, the camera cat always jibes perfectly.
Yeah.
Sometimes the fleet doesn't, you know.
I just looking ahead, just out of Double Bay, it looks really light.
Yeah, it does look pretty crooked, doesn't it?
So we'll go down and pick up our leader. Yeah, it's almost a glass out in Double Bay, isn't it, Seth?
Yeah. It's like the longer they can push this way, Aaron, they're going to be all right. There's a ferry coming here. I wonder if you've seen them. So you're right close to their lay line where they want to jibe, I think.
He's going pretty quick, though.
Yeah.
I think he just want to think he would make sure he didn't have to do two more drives.
Yeah.
Just one more.
Well, you're basically just doing Simo jibes with Noakes, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the position at the moment, jibes on their bow. It's going to be hard for Noakes to come back. Big jibe angles, like
Just
now
watch,
they're
they
getting
just got to
pressure.
watch they don't want to overlay too much here. Looks like just looking from where they are.
Yeah.
I've got them almost laying now, don't they?
Fully 90, Seb, come on.
And it puts pressure on the bowman for the drop if they bring the drop into it, but I think they're all right.
Just got lifted a bit, he should. There he
There you
goes.
They are very soft.
Is Noakes jibe?
Not yet.
Nope, not yet.
No.
And he's on the front of a good line of pressure here, so
Yeah.
I don't think he's committed too many sins there, mate.
These
Okay.
guys are going well.
Yeah, look, it's two strings. As you said that, so they couldn't have pushed much further down.
Yeah, it's still pretty efficient VMG mode. But, you know, the puff here is about back up to 8 or 9 or 10 knots of wind, so.
We've got to be careful that they don't sail too fast and sail into really soft air again. They've got to keep sort of averaging that out, don't they?
Yeah, I'd just be sort of sailing.
You want to be sort of heading to the pin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you could keep the bow pointed at the pin, you'd be happy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It looks like they've got a good puff coming. These waves could be interesting for them here. Just sort of test them.
Look.
There you
Look.
go. Oh.
Jesus. think they're cruising home one string.
Yeah, I think that's like was said. I think you want to have a bit of safety factor in it here to.
So the little bit of puff coming from the Sev, but it's a very narrow band, isn't it? It's like it's just 50 metres off the port side. It looks glassed out. All right, so another easterly, long race. What was that, an hour? I don't know how long.
Just felt long, was it, because of the rain squalls?
Yeah, probably, it was quicker than last week.
Yeah.
So well done to the boys on quality marine clothing. Held off the pressure.
So very well.
Yeah.
So well indeed. Aaron Everett on the wood, Courtney Marr in the middle, and Jeff Little in the bow. Done a good job all day, sailed pretty steadily. Tactically looked pretty good on a quite difficult day.
What do you reckon, Jono? You've hopped off the boat and they've got their first win.
So Jono, who was the former captain, is our drone pilot for the day today. So it's funny. And second is the mighty Noakes. Sean Langman, Peter Langman and Reese Mara.
Yeah, Pete's not on today. Fang Warren's on.
Oh, Fang Warren, okay, sorry.
No, they're all right.
And the kitchen maker will get fourth. And coming with a bit of a wet sail. Nice bit of squirt coming on the next rain squall. Good line of pressure.
So, yep. So the kitchen maker rounds out the podium, and then we won't hang around for the rest of the pack, but not a lot would have changed, but it's, you got Peroni, appliances online, Triple M, Rags would be next, then Smeg, and it's all very, very spread out. So anyway, thanks everyone down the back of the boat. Jono flying the drone, Chit's doing the switching, Blake on the trigger with the Ronan and Bucko once again, and Sevy, thanks for coming out and being our super special superstar, guest star, whatever.
Rockstar.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. All right, well, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.
We hope with some sunshine. Sydney Harbour back to its best.
Exactly, Bucko.
The camera cat standing by.